Hey guys, so hopefully by now you've seen the Know Your Numbers video. It was a short introduction I did to um, like general numerology and finding out your life path number. So I wanted to make a second video tying into that and the example that we use and go into detail about what are called peak years or peak numbers. So for every person, this is different, just like, you know, your specific birthday is different than most of the people out there. So you're really going to experience things at times that are specific or unique just to you. So your peak years really point out like these times in your life where there's going to be a huge amount of decision making and transformation, and they're really just big energy, and they usually take about like a 3-year span. Now it gets narrowed down to 1 year specifically, but you can kind of notice the change start a year prior to and starting to wrap up a year after that peak year. So it does take about a 3-year span to really come into your life and fully close out, and then so you can get back to adjusting to this whatever change you experienced during that time frame. So a peak year, like an example of something big happening in a peak year would be maybe you get married, maybe you divorce from your partner from a long time, maybe you decide that you want to go back to college, maybe you venture out into an entirely different career field or path. Maybe you win a really prestigious award. Like with actors, you can tell a lot of their peak years. Like say for instance, they won an Academy Award. A lot of times that has to do with one of their peak years. They came to they came into the spotlight during that time, and things just kind of fell into place for them. So they can really do a lot of positive things to you, but with transformation, just like with Scorpio and the Death card, you really have to let go of things to start again, and that's really what they are. So it's not all sunshine and daisies, unfortunately, but don't get pessimistic about the peak years and them coming up, because change is good. So change, good or bad, is change, and we all have to face it at some point. So it's just kind of interesting to know, especially if you've already experienced some peak years, like if you're in your like maybe 30s or even later than that, you've probably already had at least one or two. So I'm going to show you guys kind of how to find out your own peak years. So I'm going to use the example that we started with the first video, and I'm going to adjust the camera here. Bear with me. So we're going to take this, I'm going to try to write a little bigger this time. So the date that we were using was 9/16/1994. Okay, and so the way the peak year works is you're going to take that life path number, which, when we did that last time, I'll do it again. You add up each individual digit in the birth date. So you got 10, 16, 17, 26, 35, 39, which reduces to 12, which reduces to 3. So you're going to take that life path number, that 3 for this made-up person that we have here, and what we do with the peak stuff, we're going to start by drawing a small triangle. So each triangle represents a peak year. So what you do is you take the month, so we're going to put a 9 here. If it's like 10, 11, or 12, you're going to reduce that down to one number. And then we're going to take the date, which is 16, and we're going to reduce that to one number. So 1 plus 6 is 7. Now we're going to add up those two. So 9 plus 7 is 16. Again, reduce it down. So we have a 7. So for this first pyramid, this first peak year, this person is going to go through a peak year of 7. So I'll talk about that and kind of what that may mean. So let's go a little further here. And so we're going to do the second one now. So sorry, just want to make sure it's big enough you guys can see this. So we're going to connect to that first pyramid, and we're going to do the same thing. So this time we're adding the date to the year. So we're going to add 1 plus 9 is 10, 10 plus 9 is 19, 19 plus 4 is 23, 2 plus 3 is 5. And so for this triangle, we're going to add 7 and 5, which is 12. And we're going to reduce that down to 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. So for the person's second peak year, they're going to have a peak year of 3. Which will be really prevalent for them because they are a personal life. Their life path number is 3, so that one should be pretty significant. Now we're going to keep going here with the triangles. So we're going to have a total of 4 peak years or triangles. And now for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to take these numbers we got from the other 2 triangles and add them together. So we have a 7 here and a 3 there, and that's going to give us a 10. Now, say for instance you get a 10 or 11 for one of these first 2 at the bottom, you do have to reduce that to a single digit. But when we get to the 3rd and 4th final triangle, you can actually leave it at a 10 or 11 because those are pretty significant. So just watch out for that in case you get a 10 or 11 in those last 2 triangles. So that's going to be that one. And now for this last one, we're just going to draw it over these other ones. And now we're going to add the 2 outer digits. So we have a 9 down here and a 5 down here. So that's going to add up to 14. Now we do have to reduce 14. So that's 1 plus 4 is 5. So the last peak year that this person is going to experience is going to be a 5. Okay? So how we figure out when these peak years are going to happen, you know, I'm going to show you guys what we do here. So 36 is kind of the starting out point in numerology for the peak year, the idea or the concept. So you know, when you're 36 years old, you're really, really in control of your life. You choose kind of the directions of it. You've gotten school out of the way. You're probably on your career path. You're probably married by then, maybe started a family. You've really grown up and seen a lot already. And so you're walking into a time where, you know, you're really starting to choose what you want to do in life and what you want to surround yourself with. You know, it's really up to you. And so that's really, it sets the peak years into motion here. So what they take is that 36, and you're going to subtract your life path number. So 36 minus 3 equals 33. So then that means that at 33 years old, this person is going to have their first peak year here, which is going to be a 7. So we're going to find out at what year this person will be 33. So 1994 plus 30 would be 90 to 2000, 2000 to 2010, 2010 to 2014. So that's going to be 30 and then 3. So this person will be at 2017, 33 years old. I'm sorry, 2027. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so yeah, that's going to start our first triangle there. And then, so from there, we can figure out the next peak year. So, and this is done just simply by adding 9 after that first one, because every 9 years, you're going to have a peak year. So 9 is the number of change, big transformation. You know, it's when we're looking at the top of the tic-tac-toe here for numerology, 9 is the last number, so that's as far as you can go. So what that means is that, you know, to go any farther, you have to start back over at 1. So 9 really represents the closing out of a cycle, and you know, again, allows you to kind of step back into more command of your life, or but it's all about transformation here. So we're going to take what we got was the first year was 2027, and we're going to add 9. So we're going to get 2036 for this second year. We're going to do the same here for the 10. So add 5, or add 9, 2045, and then add 9 again for the last one. So in 2054, this person is going to have their last peak year of 5. Hopefully you guys can see that. Okay. So, you know, that's really going to be the last time that they experience really big change in their life. Their life is going to kind of calm down after that, or it's kind of going to be not necessarily smooth sailing, but that's kind of that last big opportunity to really change the direction of their life that's going, or you know, some big life events. It's really going to be the last time for this person. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they die in the state, you know, and none of these other things really can tell you that either. So, you know, we don't really like to look at it as a prediction of death, so don't get caught up in that, but just really look and see here, because we're going to go into detail about maybe what this person could experience in each of these peak years based on the number. So I'm going to bring back this person's chart here so we can have kind of a reference tool. So hopefully you can see all that. All you need to see is the triangle there. Okay, so this person has, let me draw it again. So for this person's date that we're using, they had 1, 6, 4, 9, 9, 9. Okay. So really here, that emphasis was in the 9s, which, you know, is obviously really big in peak numbers. So this person is going to go through some really, really big change, you know, some profound change in their life because of the existence of 9s. So anyone, you know, born in the 90s is going to have 2 9s in that box already. We already talked about that. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys can't see this. So I just redrew this birth dates chart down here just so we can kind of get a better image of it. So again, these 9s, we already talked about, this person is really going to have some profound change. They're really going to reinvent themselves. They're going to completely start over again and again with this 9 and 1 energy. So and this first peak number here, they're going to experience a year 7. So a 7, when we look at it, it would be right down here, which is at the bottom of the Earth plane. So you've got your, you know, your Taurus starting out, comes early in the cycle. That's earning the possessions and the money. The 4 is the Virgo, you know, what to do with those possessions, putting in the hard work, you know, like maybe even giving back, being charitable. That middle column we kind of identified as the generosity column, like the 6 is counsel, the 5s kind of lead others. So it's about giving back here. And then that 7 would be the last Earth sign, which we know to be Capricorn. So Capricorn is the last Earth sign in the cycle. And Capricorn is all about career. It's all about ambition and being seen for the work that you do. So all of this Earth energy is really going to set this up for this person. So by the time that 2027 comes around, they're really going to walk into some big career change here. You know, 7 is also the number for, you know, when we're looking at the zodiac, 7 is, the 7th sign is Libra. So this could be a career with a partner, so a loved one. Maybe they're opening shop with a family member, or maybe it's their romantic partner. Maybe they open up a restaurant together or something. So that could be, significant to that. But really, this is career no matter what it is. So expect some big change for this person, even a year prior to 2027. So because, like I said, you start to experience it. A year going into it, you can start to kind of see things changing, and things are kind of getting set up for you, so you can walk into that change better. So we go from a year 7, and then 9 years later, the second peak year happens at 2036. So at 2036, this person is going to be 42 years old, and then they're going to experience a year 3. Now they have a life path number of 3, so I would imagine this one to be pretty significant for them. Maybe this will be what they really are working towards, is getting to that 3. 3, we kind of associate with Gemini. It's the first up on the mind plane, and Gemini is the first air sign, which represents the mind. And Gemini is all about communication. It's getting places. It's how your mind processes the world, and how it works, how it interacts with the world. Because Gemini is a sign of communication. So if you can't communicate with the world, you really can't exist well. It's a lot harder. So when you see someone with 3, or even a 6, like you really see that Mercury energy, and so that's really helpful to have. A lot of 3s, they have a lot of nervous energy, because they're such busy bees. So that's the real trick for Gemini, is to kind of to slow down, because they just go, and coming so early out in the zodiac cycle, Aries, Taurus, Gemini are all the starters. So they're very much fast-paced. They love change. They love starting things, but they're not necessarily going to follow it through to fruition, because they come so early in the cycle. So with this, it's really going to be a start of a new way of thinking, a new way of expressing themselves, because it would be up here. So maybe they write a book. Maybe they write a book about where their career has taken them, coming from the 7 to the 3. Maybe they go back, or they start to teach, because Gemini and Sagittarius are the teachers. Gemini usually represents younger schooling, like high school, middle school, even lower than that. And Sagittarius is more philosophical, so it's about college, university, and beyond that, schools of thought. So we could see this person becoming a teacher around this time, but it could relate to what they've experienced already. So that 7, what they found out when this kind of took hold, and that career really took off. So we could be talking, this could be a autobiography maybe that we're writing about, or learning a new language, something to do with that. So that's what we could see here. So we're going to move from career, a new way of thinking, new way of expressing oneself, and then to the third peak years in 2045. So this person will be 51 years old when they experience a peak year of 10. So a 10 isn't a usual number that we see on the tic-tac-toe. It goes 1 through 9. So a 10 is beyond that. So it's really taking a power kind of like farther than what's usually presented. And let me see if I can just find a quick description of the 10. And by the way, this is the book that I discovered numerology from. It's called, oh gosh, okay. It's called The Complete Book of Numerology. It's a great read, great intro. Definitely recommend it. So let's see what the book has here on the peak year 10, because it's not necessarily a super common one. Bear with me. Okay. So, peak number 10 can only occur on the 3rd or 4th pyramid of peaks. Like I said before, if you get it for one of the bottom ones, you have to further reduce it to 1 digit. It brings a special strength, a unique power for relating to the needs of others during important periods of adjustments in their lives. So I guess this takes this focus of your own life on this plane and it moves you beyond, because you're beyond that now. We've left one of these the 1 through 9 numbers, and we've gone, so this is, helping others. Yeah, and guiding others. So this is a big responsibility that this person's going to walk into, and I think it makes sense because we've already established our career and how we want to be known for. We've kind of reached that exposure, and we move on to that a new way of thinking. And then with this combination, this new way of thinking and expressing oneself maybe more clearly, this person is able to then guide others because they've kind of completed these two things that they've had in their lives, and then from there, from guiding others, we move back to a 5. So that doesn't mean that this person is doing something wrong that moves them back to a 5. It's just the way that the numbers fall for this person. So that 5 is right in the middle. And like I said before on the other video, the 5 holds it all together. Just think of that Leo energy that comes in the middle of the zodiac. It's picking a direction. So, but that direction is going to lead others. So we start to guide others here, and then maybe this is more creative pursuits or stepping into a leadership role officially. So maybe this is more of something they're doing for themselves. They're not really getting paid for it or known for it through career, but this is a self-fulfilling guiding others. But then we really step back into the spotlight here with the 5. So those 7 and that 5 is really going to have that career orientation. People are going to know this person in a big way. And they're going to use everything that they've learned down here, especially with that 3, and propel them forward so they can teach others. So that 5 is a creative way of expressing oneself. So we go to a communicative, maybe more logical mind, and then to a creative, explosive kind of energy. So that's really what I see here. Is so we got career, communication, guiding, and then true leadership and creative pursuits. So, this could be opening an art gallery, acting in a big film, receiving some award for that. That 7 could be that award recognition too with Capricorns, always going for the trophy. But yeah, it's basically a big spotlight. So even when this person becomes, 39, so 33, this 9 is 42, 51, 60. So even when this person is 60 years old, they're still going to have a huge role to play in the world, and they're going to be, very important. And so that's very reassuring to have, because you just think, the older you get, like the less you can do, and that's not necessarily the case. Not for this person. So yeah, but that's pretty much how you find your peak years. So if you're around in your early 30s, even to late 30s, you probably have gone through your first peak year. So, and again, the way you do that is you take 36 minus your life path number. And then that gives you your age that you would be, and then you just find out what year you would be that age would be your first peak year. So I hope this was easy. Hopefully you guys bear with me. Sorry about the camera and everything, but that's kind of how you find out your peak years, okay? Try it on yourself, and try it on for some people that are maybe older than you if you're a little younger, and see maybe your parents or some celebrities that you like, and see if you can find that change that happened around their peak years, and kind of like see that emphasis and what it meant for them. because that really helped me when I was first learning. You know, I did my parents, I did actors that I liked, and I was like, whoa, okay, so it does make sense, you know, like this person really had a lot going on around that time, some significant stuff, and you know, those are the kinds of things that you can expect when you walk into that. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this. Leave me any feedback. Okay, thanks.